Our next question is the range of IR absorption for acid chloride. So we have to give here or find out the wave number for acid chloride. As we see, acid chloride has C double bond O, CCl, C double bond O, CCl, and then RC, which could be anything, CC, for example. So whatever options which are given to us, those are not close to CCl stretching, because CCl stretching is usually appearing around 600 centimeter inverse, which is mainly in the bending vibration region or in the fingerprint region. Okay, so what is remaining now, the region which is given to us is the double bond region in the option, so that is shown by C double bond O stretching. And in my earlier session you must have seen this table which gives the stretching vibrations for C double bond O functional group, which is present in different forms. So here 1760 to 1665 is the main range for appearance of peak for C double bond O stretching. But this C double bond O, if it is present in the form of acid chloride, it usually appears around 1800. So here 1810 centimeter inverse is the correct answer. Our next question is, in mass spectra the most intense peak is, yes, it is base peak. The most intense peak is base peak. It is not metastable ion peak, not the fragment ion peak, and not the rearrangement ion peak. Rearrangement ion peak we have seen in McLafferty rearrangement. Okay, even we have seen it in tropylium ion formation. Okay, these all details I have already given in the other videos on my channel. You can go and check that. Fragment ion peak, again when a particular molecule is first getting formed as molecular ion, and it will further break down and form the fragment ions. Then we have metastable ion peak. Metastable ion peaks are not generally, these are not sharp peaks, these are the broad peaks which are appearing in the mass spectrum. So correct answer is the base peak. These all peaks, fragment ion peaks, rearrangement peaks, molecular ion peaks, these all peaks are appearing here in the form of lines, that is percent relative abundance versus m by z. This is mass spectrum. So whichever is the longest peak, that peak we refer as the base peak. So its intensity is considered as 100%, and intensity of other peaks is calculated based on this. So correct answer is A over here. Next question, removal of a single electron from a molecule results in the formation of. So if this is the molecule I am talking about, and if I bombard this molecule with highly energetic electron beam, then because of this collision, the loosely bound electron will be removed off from the molecule. Okay, it is removed off from the molecule. So in this case, these electrons from the lone pair, any one of these electrons will be going away. So if it is going away, the deficiency of that electron can be shown by a charge, and that is the molecular ion which is formed here. Okay, a mass spectrum is obtained by plotting a graph of. So mass spectrum, whenever we come across this term spectrum, so spectrum means it's a graph. When I say graph, it will have x-axis, it will have y-axis. In case of mass spectrum, it is percent relative abundance versus m by z value, and these are lines which we see in the mass spectrum. It is also called as positive ion spectra. Okay, so here option D is the correct answer. Abundance of ions versus their m by E ratio. So m by E and m by Z both are nothing but same. It is mass to charge ratio. So this charge can be shown as E also, or it can be shown as Z also. In chromatographic separation, the different species in the sample undergo a process of. So we know that chromatography is mainly used for identification and separation of the chemical component from its complex mixture. So if I have mixture of these three components are passed through a stationary phase and mobile phase. All the three components will have different degree of affinity for these two phases. Because of this different degree of affinity, the rate of migration of these three components will be different, and because of which they will be separated. So this different degree of affinity, because of this different degree of affinity, they will partition themselves between stationary phase and mobile phase. So here the correct answer is B, partition. Our next question is solvent programming, also called gradient elution, involves what among the following? There are two types of elutions we have studied: isocratic elution and gradient elution. Isocratic elution, first one, which means same composition of mobile phase is maintained throughout the chromatographic run. That means if I am using methanol is to water 8 is to 2. So that methanol is to water 8 is to 2 composition will be utilized throughout the separation. And gradient elution means gradual change in mobile phase composition either stepwise or continuously as elution proceeds. That means what? From 8 is to 2, I am now changing the composition as methanol water 7 is to 3. Next, after some time, I am changing it to 6 is to 4 methanol water. After some time, I am changing it to 5 is to 5 methanol water. So, polarity of the mobile phase I am continuously changing. That means I am achieving that by gradual change in mobile phase composition. Isocratic elution usually has some disadvantages or limitations as improper resolution of early elution bands, difficulty in eluting last eluting bands, and long elution times. So especially when we have a mixture of very wide range of polarity, so in that case the component having the least polarity, or which is the highly non-polar, may take the longer time to come out of the column if we are using the polar solvent only throughout the separation. So once our polar components are out, I may change the composition to non-polar so that non-polar components are also coming out fast. So that is gradient elution. The main purpose of gradient elution is to move strongly retained components of the mixture faster, but having the least retained components well resolved. Starting with the low content of organic component in the eluent, we allow the least retained components to be separated. Whereas strongly retained components, they will have more affinity for the adsorbent surface on the top of column, and thus they will move very slowly. And when we start to increase an amount of organic component in the eluent, for example acetonitrile, then strongly retained components will move faster and faster because of the steady increase of the competition for the adsorption site. So what is our answer here? Solvent programming, also called as gradient elution, involves option B, changing the mobile phase composition. Next question is about HPLC. In HPLC, the analytical performance improves when particle diameter is increased, particle diameter is reduced, coarser particles are paired with shorter column, or in case of usage of low temperature. So let us see that. If you can recollect this video in which I had explained about this graph, okay, where we are finding out the optimum flow rate. Okay, this is Van Deemter equation, if you remember. So as per this Van Deemter equation, which is A plus B by U plus Cu, what is our aim here? Our aim is to find good resolution in lesser retention time or in lesser analysis time, and that can be achieved by keeping this H value least, that is HETP. Okay, HETP is height equivalent to theoretical plate. So to keep this least value of H, we want this A lesser, we want this B by U value lesser, we want this Cu lesser. Okay, now A involves what? If you see here, A is 2 lambda dr. Lambda is packing factor and this dr is the particle size. So if packing factor is lesser, if particle size is lesser, then I can achieve this A smaller and thus H will be smaller. Okay, so this is talking about particle size. If you see here, B by U, okay, B by U doesn't involve any parameter with respect to particle size. That is, B is about the diffusion of the band on both the sides, and Cu involves Cm as well as Cs. So here if we see omega dp square by dm and qrd square by ds, this is the diffusion coefficient in mobile phase and in stationary phase. But if you see this dp square, again this is the thickness of stationary phase, this is also again the particle size. So if, since this is a numerator, if this is lesser, then only these will be lesser. Okay, and if this C is lesser, then only I will get this H lesser, right? So in case of this graph which we get at the end of Van Deemter equation, the analytical performance of column improves dramatically when the particle diameter is reduced. So here particle diameter is 200 micron in this case. If you still go on reducing the particle diameter, okay, the lesser and lesser values of H can be achieved. So up to 5 micrometers now, if the particle size is reduced, we will get the lesser H, that is lesser HETP, so that we will get good resolution in lesser time of analysis. So for this question, the correct answer is B, that is the analytical performance improves when particle diameter is reduced.
Thank you very much for watching till the end. If you are new to my channel, do subscribe and keep watching. If you have any queries, any doubts, you can post in the comment section. I'll be happy to answer your queries. Thank you. Have a nice day. All the best.